If you like low alcohol seltzer, but what your family drinks is bourbon on the rocks, bring some freaking Truly or some shit, right? Like, bring the stuff that will make it okay for you to do what you want to do instead of getting carried into what everybody else wants to do. This might be surprising, but for the vast majority of you, every once in a while, life is different. But for the vast majority of us, the other people are thinking about themselves.
Welcome to the Ignited Recovery Podcast, a new way forward for anyone looking for answers but feeling left out. If you've been searching for empowerment, triumph, and purpose, you've found them right here. You won't hear the same solutions, and you're not going to have any excuses to fall back on, because Ignited Recovery allows heroes to rise and become their best selves. I'm Dr. Sophie Jaffe, and I can't wait to be your guide on this journey. Are you ready to become an ignited hero?
Preparation is going to end up being really important for all of us. We have to know what we're heading into and how we want things to happen ahead of time. Now, here's part of what I mean by that. I'm going to give some personal examples. So for instance, I've heard this from a lot of clients. This is a really common thing that would happen to female clients of mine. If they were single or if they had just gotten married recently, there would be this thing where somebody in their family would start asking them about, are you in a relationship? Do you know who you're going to marry? Did you find somebody? Why not? What's wrong? Do you want me to find you somebody? Do you want me to hook you up with someone? Like, that would be half the night for them. Or on the flip side, if they'd been married, it'd be like, are you guys having kids? Why are you not having kids? What's going on? Like, are you guys having problems? Do you need some help? I got a doctor I know. Like, next thing you know, half of their night, here's the issue. These things really did bother them. So the people I was hearing from, it's not that this wasn't an issue in their life. It really bothered. Like, these were women who did want to settle down and did want to find somebody. And it bothered the shit out of them that as they're going to dinner with their family, that was the thing everybody decided that they wanted to talk about all day, because it wasn't something they wanted to spend the day talking about with them. It would be really aggravating for them to have this happen over and over and over. And they knew that it was going to happen. Now, in years past, the way they dealt with it is they would either pre-drink or they would get there. The first 3 questions would happen, and then they would go drink in order to deal with the questions. The problem is they are now doing the thing that we know we need to do the least, which is dealing with the stress by drinking. The plan for them was either to not plan or to not care about the questions, even though they knew the questions were coming. And then they showed up, mom, aunt, dad, brother, whatever, started asking the question. They realized this was too stressful to deal with, and then they went for the drink, which is the habit. I'm okay. I'm stressed out. I'm anxious. Have a drink. I'm okay. Right? That's the habitual kind of chain that we go through. When I'm talking about planning, I literally talk. There's an exercise in the program called Visualizing Our Way to Success, and one about reworking your triggers. A big part of it is visualizing what the typical experience that you go through in this situation is versus what experience you want to go through, and creating an actual movie, an internal movie of how you want the night to go. So if you know that every time you open the door, your aunt comes in from stage left, and goes, so did you find somebody to settle down with? If you know that happens every single time you go home, don't pretend it doesn't happen. Recognize it's going to happen, and then already come up with the way you're going to deal with it right off the bat. And when I would originally talk to people about this, and I'm talking 15 years ago in group, the answer most people would say, because here's what, let's say somebody was trying not to drink. I would say, well, how are you going to deal with it when somebody offers you a drink? And they'd say, oh, I'll just tell them I'm not drinking. I'll go, how would that come out? And they had a hard time practicing it. So I literally got in the habit of having people practice saying the thing you're going to say. It's like in acting, you're pretending you're doing the scene, but do the damn scene. Actually role play the thing. You can start it in your head and then you do it for real. And then here's the reason. If you practice what you're going to say to your aunt when she makes that awkward comment or says that thing, when you actually have to say it in real life, it's not going to feel as weird as if you had to come up with it on the spot. You're also not anxious and stressed out when you come up with the answer. So number one, that's why that's important. The second piece, if you want to drink less, bring non-alcoholic drinks that you really, really like. Bring them with you. Do not imagine that they will have them there. If you have an iced tea you love, or you love LaCroix, or you enjoy Sprite or Diet Coke or whatever, take your pick, bring that stuff with you. The same applies. So, we're all non-judgment here, right? If you like low alcohol seltzer, but what your family drinks is bourbon on the rocks, bring some freaking Truly or some shit, right? Like, bring the stuff that will make it okay for you to do what you want to do instead of getting carried into what everybody else wants to do. This might be surprising, but for the vast majority of you, every once in a while, life is different. But for the vast majority of us, the other people are thinking about themselves. They're going to bring what they want. They're not necessarily going to have what you want. Bring your shit with you. So that's true for drinks. By the way, if you love like seltzer water, bring seltzer water with lemons. Just be prepared to make your own drink. If they have stuff themselves, that's great. But that's number one. Number two, when it comes to food, a lot of us got trained in drinking. Not all of us, but especially those of us who like drinking a lot. We got trained in drinking on an empty stomach and fast. We got trained to drink quickly on an empty stomach because the point of drinking when we started drinking was to get really drunk. If you drink without drinks or like without fluid or food in your stomach, you get drunk faster. Now, as an adult, you may want to switch that habit. So you want to start by drinking a non-alcoholic drink that you brought with yourself to the party anyway, maybe even before you walk in the door, and then have, I say, 2 fistfuls of food. Just get 2 fistfuls of food in you, and then you can keep with non-alcoholic if that's what you want. But if you start drinking, the drinks will slow down their absorption. You're not going to get drunk as fast, and you can take your time a little bit. So those are really like very basic preparations.
Thank you for tuning in to the Ignited Heroes Recovery Podcast. I really hope you found the information here useful and that we'll see you back here next week. And look, I want to make sure that this podcast is the most useful it can be for you, so please let me know by emailing info@ignited.com if there are any specific topics or questions you'd like to have addressed. As usual, if you like this episode, I would love for you to leave us a 5-star review and rating. Thanks, and see you next week.